And so it all comes down to this, as Orphan-Maker stands trial against the Quiet Council. Will his team be able to rescue him, or will this be the end of the Hellions forever? Let's hop into issue 18 and find out together, shall we? Alrighty then, so this big Zeb Wells finale wastes absolutely no time getting started. The Quiet Council has convened to decide what the ultimate fate of Orphan-Maker and the Hellions as an extension will be. It's not just the obvious stuff either that might get them in trouble and sunk to the pits of Krakoa, but also the stuff you didn't think about, like the fact that all of this began because Nanny was harboring a mutant-hating AI on the island. And because the Hellions can't help but be their chaotic selves, they don't help their own case either. Apparently they got into a big fistfight with Cyclops and the rest of the X-Men when they were sent to retrieve them. The mutants need to appear hard on these lawbreakers and not cause an international incident, even though it was Orphan-Maker who killed two dirty cops because he's, well, simple. This defense doesn't exactly go over great with the rest of the council, who say that even though he may act like a child, mentally and physically he is still considered an adult. Or at the very least that's been the case following Orphan-Maker's death and resurrection over in Erico. And if you're thinking to yourself, isn't it really cruel to have the Hellions have to stand trial for what they did wrong, when meanwhile one of the people residing over their ultimate fates is Mr. Sinister, a person who is by far way more corrupt than them, but who gets to sidestep any and all punishment because of his contributions to the island and because of his seat on the Quiet Council? Well, you feel a lot like Quan-On too, who decides to punch the shit out of him. And you'd think assaulting a member of the Quiet Council would probably do pretty bad for the Hellions' defense, but everyone else on the council thinks it's a good idea. In fact, they allow Quan-On one more hit, before deciding that if this trial is to continue, they're going to have to muzzle Sinister. And I don't mean that figuratively either, I mean Magneto quite literally fashions a metal muzzle for him. Sadly, all the votes seem to be in favor of sending Orphan-Maker to the pit. Nightcrawler, of all people, stands up for Orphan-Maker and the Hellions, saying that this team and what they stand for still have potential to Krakoa. That if the mutants truly want to build a better society, they can't just simply throw away the mutants who are too troublesome, either because their powers make them dangerous or because their minds make them dangerous. Sadly though, Kirk's voice is the only voice of reason. This hits particularly hard for the rest of the team, who have really only become a team in the last couple issues. Quan-On, as we've seen all throughout the series, has been motivated by the loss of her child. Now she's losing another child all over again. Likewise, Grey Crow, who had lost his previous team, had actually found a type of solace in being Orphan-Maker's older brother-father figure. It's here at the 11th hour Nanny finally makes her big return after being resurrected. She says that if her child is to go to the pit, that she wants to go with him. This is of course only after Nanny is told that the whole reason Orphan-Maker went on that rampage that he did was to try and get back the AI that Nanny had adopted. At first, the council refuses to play into Nanny's ideas, that is of course until she says that if they don't send her to the pit with Orphan-Maker, she'll kill as many humans as she needs to get thrown in there anyway. And because one trial is uncomfortable enough as it is, they decide it's better just to give Nanny what she wants. And with that, Krakoan justice is served, but no one seems happy about it. The Hellions are officially breaking up now to go their separate ways. And Grey Crow himself very sadly opines that maybe there is no place, no home for people like them on Krakoa or anywhere for that matter. It's after that we get a series of small Animal House style vignettes letting us know what happened to all the individual members. Empath goes to the original Hellions team again, which I thought was a fun little touch, only no one is happy to see him, until he's able to doctor their minds and make them happy to see him, which in turn doesn't make him happy at all, knowing full well that he's not welcome anywhere. Wildchild decides to take the psychiatric medication that was prescribed to him at the beginning of the series, but again, he's not happy about any of it. Sure, he'll be more human, but why? For whose benefit? Alex Summers is ultimately given his reward for his good work. Madeline Pryor is allowed to live once again, and while he's happy to finally have the love of his life return to him, it's made abundantly clear that the Goblin Queen isn't done being the Goblin Queen, and once she acts out again, it's gonna be Alex who pays the price. Likewise, Mr. Sinister, despite trying to create a new race of Chimera mutants and manipulating the Hellions every step of the way, he's completely off scot-free until he acts up again. For all their talk of laws, the Krakoan justice system is shown to be one giant joke and no less corrupt than the human justice system. If there is one small shred of light at the end of the tunnel, Quan-On was actually able to stop Grey Crow from attempting to assassinate Empath, path and the two get together on the beach. The Hellions may be no more, but perhaps what these two made with each other will actually be able to survive, and if it does, maybe the whole thing was ultimately worth it. And that was Hellions issue number 18, everybody, and while I'm certainly sad to see this series go, I couldn't think of a more complete and fitting finale for this book. It was all equal parts dark, sad, and a little bit funny because, well, that's just the lives that all these characters live now, isn't it? There's also something truly poignant, too, about this book ultimately saying that even in a place like Krakoa, a place meant to be a paradise, there'll always be freaks and outcasts. There'll always be corruption, and there'll always be predators looking to try and take advantage of others. But at the same time, there will also always be unlikely bonds of kinship, friendship, and found family, and that those things are ultimately worth fighting for. In summation, I would give this one a well-deserved 9 out of 10, and now that the book is done, if you haven't been reading Hellions, then maybe this holiday season you should start.
Hey there everyone, Kate Joel again, and I just want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. It means a lot to me. And hey, if you enjoyed the book I covered in this issue and want some comics of your own, might I recommend Book Depository? It's my #1 place for shopping for comic book trades. You get a great price, and if you use my link down in the description, you'll actually be helping me out at the same time. You get something, I get something, everybody wins, right? So until next time everyone, I've been Joel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.